I suppose it all started with the sound of applause. Deafening, thunderous applause that seemed to vibrate through my bones. It wasn't for me, of course. It was for him. And that was the first time I realized how much I hated Alexander Moore. The spotlight adored him. It clung to him like a second skin, reflecting off his tousled and sparkling in his infuriatingly perfect green eyes. Every move he made on that stage was deliberate, every step graceful. The audience ate it up, their cheers growing louder with every practiced twirl. Meanwhile, I stood in the shadows, my fingers clenched around the velvet curtain. It wasn't supposed to be like this. We were both dancers, yes. Rivals? Definitely. But I didn't expect the rivalry to swallow me whole. I didn't expect him to become my waking nightmare. I remember the first time we met. Auditions for the academy. He had shown up in a pristine black shirt and form-fitting dance pants, his hair artfully messy like he hadn't even tried. I, on the other hand, was still adjusting the straps of my hand-me-down shoes, anxiety gnawing at my stomach. I tried not to notice the way his presence seemed to shift the entire atmosphere of the room. Even the judges had perked up. And then he danced. I'll never forget that. The way he moved, like water, like silk. His arms curved with elegance, his legs extended with impossible finesse. He was everything I wasn't. And yet, somehow I made it through that audition. My name was called right after his. Felt like a victory then. But the victories didn't last. Not with Alexander around. In rehearsals he was untouchable. Every instructor's darling. If I landed a perfect pirouette he did 3. If I memorized a piece of choreography he had already mastered it the day before. The praise was endless. Alexander, that was flawless. Alexander, you're a natural. Alexander, lead the group once more. And then there was me. Clara, keep up. Clara, stop hesitating. Clara, if you can't manage this step, step aside. I hated it. I hated him. But it wasn't just his talent that gnawed at me. It was the way he smiled so effortlessly, the way people gathered around him like moths to a flame. He wasn't just the best dancer. He was everything I wanted to be. And then, of course, came the ultimate insult. The lead role. The part one had poured my heart into. Months of aching muscles and torn ligaments, endless hours of sweat-drenched rehearsals. I wanted it. Needed it. And for a moment I thought I might have it. But the moment was fleeting. Alexander Moore will take the lead, the director announced, his voice cutting through the rehearsal hall. Clara, you'll be his understudy. Understudy. I barely remember the polite applause that followed. All I could hear was the roaring in my ears. Alexander, of course, accepted the role with a gracious nod. He even turned to me, flashing that infuriating smile as if to say better luck next time. But I wasn't going to wait for luck. Not anymore. The rivalry was no longer one-sided. He might have stolen the spotlight, but I was done standing in the shadows. And so my story truly begins. I didn't speak to him. Not out of fear, but out of stubborn pride. Every day I practiced harder, pushing my body past its limits. The whispers around the studio didn't help. He's already perfect. Benny's good, but she's reckless. They weren't wrong. I could feel it too, that need to prove something. So when I saw him nail the complex pirouette I'd been struggling with, my hands curled into fists. Alexander had been given the green light to attempt it on stage. I hadn't. But rules felt like chains. And I hated the idea of being bound. That evening when the studio was nearly empty I stayed behind. My muscles ached but the adrenaline kept me moving. I positioned myself in front of the mirror, determination burning through my veins. 1, 2, 3. I leapt into the air, aiming to complete the difficult turn. My reflection blurred as I twisted mid-air. The rush of power was intoxicating. Until it wasn't. The second my foot hit the floor, a sharp pain shot through my leg. A crack echoed in the silent studio. My body crumpled, the shock overwhelming my senses. I couldn't even scream. Just a strangled gasp. My vision blurred and I clutched my ankle, trembling. Benny. The voice was distant at first but then suddenly close. Alexander. Of course he'd stayed late too. His face hovered above mine, concern etched into his usually stoic features. He didn't hesitate. Without a word, he wrapped his arms around me and lifted me effortlessly. It's okay. I've got you. The ride to the hospital was a haze. I barely registered the sterile white walls and the fluorescent lights. But I felt Alexander's presence beside me the whole time. He didn't leave even when the doctors examined my leg and confirmed what I already knew. A fracture. No dancing for months. Tears welled in my eyes but I bit them back. I wasn't about to break again. Not in front of him. Why? I finally croaked, my voice trembling. Why are you still here? Alexander met my gaze, his blue eyes steady. Because, he said softly, you're not my enemy right now. You're just Benny. And for the first time I didn't know how to hate him. The ride to the hospital was a haze. I barely registered the sterile white walls and the fluorescent lights. But I felt Alexander's presence beside me the whole time. He didn't leave even when the doctors examined my leg and confirmed what I already knew. A fracture. No dancing for months. Tears welled in my eyes but I bit them back. I wasn't about to break again. Not in front of him. Are you okay? Alexander's voice was low, careful. His concern should have made me feel better but it only stoked the fire inside me. I snapped. Why do you care? My voice shook but I didn't stop. You think just because you carried me here you're some hero? You always think you're better than me, don't you? Perfect Alexander, the studio's golden boy, always one step ahead. Must be nice. He blinked, caught off guard. Benny, that's not. Save it. I cut him off. I'm not some fragile little project for you to fix. I was fine before you came along. I didn't need your help. But even as the words left my mouth, I could see the hurt flicker across his face. And for a brief moment I almost regretted saying them. Almost. The next day I expected silence. No texts, no visits. Maybe that was for the best. But when the knock came at the door I froze. It was him. Alexander stood there holding a bag of takeout. I thought you might need some real food, he said, ignoring the tension from the day before. Hospital food is the worst. I wanted to slam the door. But the smell of warm pasta was undeniable and my stomach betrayed me. Fine, I muttered, stepping aside. He stayed for only a little while, watching as I ate in silence. He didn't force conversation, didn't try to fix anything. And somehow that made it bearable. Scene 2, Stories from the Studio. On the second day he brought stories. You won't believe what happened, he started, sitting on the chair beside my couch. Marissa tried to pull off the same pirouette you were working on. She nearly took out the bar. Despite myself I laughed. He grinned, clearly pleased. For a moment, it was almost like we weren't rivals. Just two dancers sharing stories. On the third day he showed up with someone else. Hope you don't mind, Alexander said as a familiar face appeared behind him. My best friend Lily. You idiot. Lily scolded me, though her eyes were red. You could have been hurt way worse. I opened my mouth to protest but Alexander interrupted. She's already been through enough, he said quietly. She's learned her lesson. I blinked at him, surprised. No smug remarks. No backhanded comments. Just concern. And for the first time I started to wonder if maybe Alexander wasn't entirely the enemy I thought he was. Weeks passed. My leg healed, the cast came off, and soon I could walk without crutches. But something else had changed. I fell for him. It wasn't sudden. It was in the small moments. His unexpected kindness, his laughter, the way he looked at me when he thought I wouldn't notice. So I planned a dinner. Nothing extravagant, just something simple. A quiet place to tell him what I felt. I spent the entire day preparing, nervously rearranging candles and nervously second-guessing my choices. But he never came. The candles burned low. The food grew cold. I checked my phone too many times, the silence unbearable. And I had no idea why. The next morning he finally showed up. "Benny, I'm so sorry," he said, his face pale. "I wanted to come, I really did. But my girlfriend wasn't feeling well. We had to go to the doctor. She's pregnant." The words hit me like a punch. Pregnant. Of course. I forced a tight smile, pretending it didn't shatter something inside me. It's okay," I murmured. But it wasn't. Who leaves their pregnant girlfriend to care for another girl? Men are so unbelievably stupid. I didn't mean for it to happen. I fought it, denied it, told myself over and over that it was nothing, that it was impossible. But no matter how many times I tried to push it away, it was still there, lingering beneath the surface, growing stronger with every passing day. I had fallen for him. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't some grand, dramatic revelation. It crept up on me slowly, in the smallest moments. The way he made me laugh when I least expected it, the way his voice softened when he spoke to me, the way his hands lingered just a little too long when he helped me up. It was in the way he looked at me when he thought I wouldn't notice, in the way he showed up when no one else did. I should have known. I should have seen it coming. But I was too stubborn, too set in my ways, too determined to believe that he was still the same person I had convinced myself he was. He was supposed to be the enemy. The last person I should ever trust. The one I had sworn to keep at a distance. And yet here I was, sitting alone in the dim glow of my apartment, my heart aching with the weight of a truth I could no longer ignore. I thought about him constantly. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. His smile, his touch, the way he made me feel like maybe, just maybe, I wasn't as alone as I thought. How did I let this happen? How did he slip past my defenses so effortlessly, breaking through walls I had spent years building? I had been so careful, so guarded. And now I was standing on the edge of something terrifying, something I couldn't control. I hated this feeling, this vulnerability, this helplessness. It wasn't like me. I had always prided myself on my strength, my ability to keep my emotions in check. But now my own heart had become my enemy, betraying me at every turn, pulling me towards something I wasn't sure I could survive. But the worst part? I didn't want it to stop.
We're two hearts in the dark, chasing whispers through the night. Secrets buried in the stars, hidden in the pale moonlight. Every glance feels like a spark, every word just out of reach. We're dancing close but standing still, on the edge